belts! What's up, everybody? Brandon from Gearist, and today we are taking a look at the Adventure Belt from Arcade Belts, these guys right here. Before we get into this, please like, follow, share, subscribe, click that notification bell, all of those things that are going to make it sure that you see all of the things that we're doing here over at Gearist. The other thing that I would remind you is we have a new series that we just launched last week, and that series is called What the Friday, where we take a look at some moderately useful, interesting, kind of out there gear. So be sure to subscribe so you can check out all those. And matter of fact, check out the one that we did last week right now. And now, without any further ado, let's get into the Adventure Belt from Arcade Belts. We're looking at today the regular and the slim. You can see is a little slimmer, about 25% less slim. So if you're like me, you're getting outside a lot, whether that's running, hiking, biking, swimming, all of those things. And swimming, you're probably not going to wear this. But all of those things, or a lot of those things anyway, they're going to require some sort of way to keep your pants up. This is if you're climbing, something like that. If you're skiing, you're backpacking, you're going to be wearing something that's probably a pack or a harness that's going to be pushing your pants down, having a belt. And seriously, I take this very seriously. I wear a belt almost all the time when I'm not wearing sweatpants or like cycling bibs or something like that. Having something like this is going to keep your pants in place, but I've tried a lot of things kind of akin to this where the stretch is almost too much. But today we're going to see if this kind of follows that trend or if it's something that kind of is a departure that really can kind of stand the test of time. The first thing we're going to talk about is the materials and construction of these guys. Both of these belts right here are made of Repreve, 85% Repreve. Now, Repreve is a post-consumer water bottle or just kind of drink bottle recycled material. So number one, it's a carbon sink. You're taking that out of the environment. You're using it for something that you can actually use. I like that a lot. For both of the buckles, as you can see there, they're shaped a little bit differently. The slim is kind of a little bit different than the regular, but both of them are a high density plastic, very simple and only about 4 millimeters thick. You can see right here, male in, female in, clickety boom, there you go. And then over here on the way that I loop my belts on the left side, you've got this loop right here, which is going to keep any excess beltage under control. Now, right out of the gate, I have to say that both of these guys, very, very lightweight. This comes in at 50 grams. This comes in at 75 grams. That's 1.76 ounces and 2.65 ounces. And just so you know, and we'll kind of get into this a little bit more in a minute, they are both one size fits most, as they adjust up to 40 inches per belt. And there are belts in the Arcade Belts spectrum that can go higher than that if needs be. Now, the thing I'll say about the weight, and I'm going to go ahead and set this guy down so I have two hands to work with. The weight sometimes in belts like this is going to be indicative of a too stretchy fabric. I did not notice that in this. This is very wonderfully stretchy. It comes back because the too stretchy or the too loose of a stretch, what that winds up doing is it just doesn't hold your pants up. You like lean over to pick something up. If you're climbing or something like that, you take a stretch up, then all of a sudden your pants are falling down because this can't quite keep up with what you're doing, or the stretch comes out and then it won't retain itself back well enough. Now, about that buckle right there, again, when I have worn this with a pack that requires a hip belt, what this is doing is it's really kind of low profile enough to truly stay out of the way. Now, why that's important is because a lot of more kind of broader belt buckles that are made of metal or what have you are going to kind of back up against that hip belt that you're wearing with your pack, and it's going to either kind of create like this dense effect out this way, or it's having to sit underneath or on top, and it just is really uncomfortable. This is very low profile. And you can see here, it's actually thinner than the doubled up side of the belt, which is pretty cool. If I have a gripe about this belt, which I don't too much, that's probably going to be the thing, is that it's a bit of a pain to adjust. Now, the reason that I don't say that this is like a deal breaker or anything like that is because I'm going to adjust it like once, twice every couple months. Even if I'm losing weight or gaining weight because the holidays are right around the corner, I'm really not adjusting it that much. And the other reason that I don't mind it is because that adjustment is part of why the belt stays in place so well. The fact that it is a little bit difficult to get through. So as you can see here, you can't just really pull. I mean, you can kind of, but it's just not going to work. So what I like to do is kind of push the belt up and sometimes use my teeth a little bit. So I'll pull it up like that, and then kind of pull it in the direction that I need to. And this way, case will kind of loosen it a little bit. I'll pull it down and then we can just readjust that strap on the backside. So it's not that difficult. It's not that easy. And finding kind of that sweet spot for what your waist is, it just take the time, because I promise you, as I found out, it is well worth taking that time. The other thing that I should mention is that X-House belt material, right? This part right here, which on a traditional belt with a traditional buckle is going to overlay on the front. This actually overlays on the back. So it's up against your skin, controlled not only by the loop that's here, but also controlled by the belt loops of your pants. Now, we've talked about sizing. This can go up to 40 inches. They do recommend on the Arcade Belts website that over 36 inches that you kind of look to the next model. And there are models that go up to 50 inches in cases of some Arcade Belts. Now, as I said a second ago, one of the things that sometimes frustrates me about stretchy, kind of more elasticized belts is the fact that the stretch is not tight enough, or it's a little bit too stretchy, because I guess it's just trying to like have the look of a belt instead of the real true function. This does a good job of that. It's actually quite a heavy stretch. You can tighten it down, which means you can like really tighten it down and then stretch it to your waist if you wanted to. I mean, that kind of precludes some of the stretch to adjust on different activities and what have you. But I will say that I love the stretch of this, and having worn this for 2 months straight, it did not lose its shape. It did not lose its elasticity. Yes, it's only been 2 months, but I've worn it and everything. I've also washed it and dried it, which is something that you can do with this. This can go in the washer. And two things about that. One, it's soft material. It's going to wash and dry fine without breaking down. The other thing is that the belt buckle, being so lightweight and kind of that high density but thin plastic, it's not going to ding all around inside the drum of your washer or dryer and bust up that drum from the inside. So let's talk about a few activities that I did that were specific. First up, trail running. Why was I wearing a belt while trail running? Well, quite frankly, because I had a pair of shorts that were a bit of a hybrid kind of hiker, runner, do anything type of short, and it had belt loops, so I thought I'd try it out. This did very well. Felt just like a waistband, quite frankly. Didn't chafe, nothing like that. Didn't fall down. Obviously, my pants didn't fall down, or shorts, I guess, but it stayed in place really well. Hiking and backpacking, certainly the hiking part, wearing pants, everything from true hiking pants to rock pants to jeans even. It held up very, very well. And in fact, I've actually worn it with some kind of work pants, right? Some office pants, bird dogs, in fact. In those cases, it did very well. And as I mentioned earlier, this belt buckle being so thin fit nicely behind the hip belt of any pack that I was wearing. Mountain biking. Now, for me, you would say, well, why are you wearing a belt while mountain biking? Well, truth be told, because sometimes I'm not wearing just a cycling kit. A lot of times I'm wearing like an underbib. There's one I just used from Patagonia that is amazing, and some shorts from Patagonia as well. And there are belt loops that are going to keep your shorts up. This does a very, very good job of holding that in place. And quite frankly, my favorite belt for mountain biking, because my pants, as I tend to lean over, you kind of lean into a hill or something like that, your pants kind of tend to slide down your butt. This has done a very good job in that case. But then as I sit back up and your body kind of thins back out, this does a good job of staying right in place. As with the backpack that I mentioned earlier, when belaying or climbing, anytime you're wearing a climbing harness or scrambling or what have you, this is out of the way of that harness. And again, it's thin enough that it could be up or below the harness, or above or below, rather, the harness. It's going to stay out of your way and be very stretchy with whatever movement you're putting to it. Now, also, when wearing this on airplane flights, this thing is TSA proof, right? So I'm not going to say that somebody from TSA isn't going to be like, hey, you need to take your belt off, because that's just what they do. But there is nothing metal on this. There's no metal in, around, or on it. This will not be picked up on any metal detector or anything like that, so you can keep it on, because I will say that that is a pet peeve of mine. Because I wear a belt so frequently, I go through TSA, and then you have to sit there and deal with putting your belt back on while picking up all the rest of your crap. This allows you to keep your belt on. From a design standpoint, these are just a couple of the ones that we're looking at here today. You can see this has a nice cloud on it over on this side. We got a little wave action there. This guy right here, kind of a very Navajo flavor, which is actually just awesome. I love this. They do have more subtle ones. Again, I have one that's kind of just a black belt upstairs with a couple of really subtle designs that goes well in kind of more formal or business casual, business apparel, what have you. So I will also say that the price tag of these is very good. For coming in at $31.95 each, both of these are $31.95. They do have some that go up in price, and occasionally you can find a sale, but it's a really good price tag, especially for something that you're gonna probably drop $30-some on a belt anyway. Drop it on something that's going to be so flexible. For me, I'm not somebody who frequently goes for form over function. I like things to do what they are meant to do. These do a good job of both, right? It's a good form, really good designs, good look, good feel, all of those things, and the function is super high level. I cannot see these leaving my arsenal anytime soon. I've got like 4 of these. I would say that I just am really, really in love with the Arcade belts. The Adventure belt, they do have more models from Arcade belts, including some that are leather, including some that have kind of like a stretch weave material. So very cool. You can just check out their website, which if you check is right down below, and it's arcadebelts.com. I'd also say, kind of not so subtle pitch to go get some of these. Christmas is right around the corner. It's October, today's the first day of November 2022. These are just kind of a great gift. I mean, it's something that is stylish. They have a lot of different options in terms of design that are going to cater to people no matter what they're into. And so it's always something that you can use. So check that out on our website. You can go down in the description below. There's a link where you can go buy some of these, either from REI or from Amazon. We would love if you would do that. It would help support us. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. We want to hear from you. Do you wear a belt all the time? All those things I mentioned. Do you wear belts while doing those things? Or are you kind of like a tie a rope around there and call it a day kind of guy? So let us know in the comments, guys. Thank you so much. Get out there, have fun, and we'll talk to you next time.